Black Panther 3 is going to completely change the MCU. In fact, it actually sounds like Black Panther 3 might take place in the already changed MCU. You see, Kevin Feige, the president of Marvel Studios, and the Russo brothers have already stated that Avengers Secret Wars is going to be a new beginning for the MCU, meaning whatever happens in Secret Wars might take place in the new rebooted universe. Battleworld being created out of a bunch of different universes and timelines thrown together, that might actually be the creation of the new soft rebooted MCU that we have from here on out. And Black Panther 3 is going to be the first movie, if not one of the first movies, that happens for Marvel's Phase 7 after Avengers Secret Wars, which means it's going to be incredibly important. But with today's new plot details for the movie, it might be a lot bigger than we even thought it was going to be. What is going on, Cosmic Crew? Thanks for stopping by the channel today. According to insider James Mack, the plot for Black Panther 3 is going to get crazy. In fact, it's going to get outer worldly, and aliens might be involved, which means Black Panther 3 is going to set up a lot for the future of the MCU. Let's first dive into the plot details and then talk about what it's going to set up. So James Mack is reporting that the Black Panther 3 storyline involves a space-related crisis. Now, when I first heard that, I did think about what Yelena had to say in the Thunderbolts post-credit scene. They have a space crisis. I'm wondering if this is related at all, or if we're simply going into the new universe after this and it's not really related. I'm probably guessing it's not related since Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars and the destruction of the multiverse all happen in between the Thunderbolts post-credit scene at Black Panther 3, but you never know. But a space-related crisis with aliens reaching Wakanda and the possible introduction of the Savage Land where T'Challa may encounter Ka-Zar. It is also expected to serve as the starting point for the MCU's next saga, introducing its cosmic storyline. This is all incredibly interesting. Really, really interesting. There's my cat. Hi. Hi, Yeji. Okay, going back to where it states the Savage Land, where T'Challa may encounter Ka-Zar, that is incredibly interesting. First and foremost, we have to talk about T'Challa, because as of right now in the MCU, we don't really have a main T'Challa. Yes, we have a T'Challa Jr., his son, which they introduced in the post-credit scene of Black Panther Wakanda Forever, but all of the insiders seemingly have reported that we're going to get a new T'Challa in the MCU, a new Black Panther. And we've actually seen the leaked concept art from Avengers Secret Wars that does show us a new Black Panther, and it seems right now, at least according to the insider reports, that Damson Idris really might be our new Black Panther. We'll have to wait and see on that, but it very well could be the case. But regardless, we are getting a new Black Panther, and that is most likely going to happen in Secret Wars. It could happen in Doomsday, but again, we've seen the concept art for Secret Wars, not Doomsday. So either or, but regardless, it seems like a new one is coming, and they're going to be the new Black Panther in Black Panther 3. We also do know that Denzel Washington is going to be a part of it as well. He's not going to be Black Panther, but he'll be in the movie. But the new T'Challa going to the Savage Land and the fact that he might encounter Ka-Zar is actually pretty crazy, because Ka-Zar, his father actually discovered what is really known as an anti-metal, which has the ability to basically deconstruct any metal. So that could be a big deal for vibranium. And Ka-Zar himself is not like a superhuman by any means. I mean, he has really great strength and agility, and he's a great hunter, but he's not a mutant or anything like that. So him encountering Ka-Zar, it probably has to do with the anti-metal is what I'm assuming. So that could be a whole other story and could mean quite a big deal for vibranium. But then we have the aliens, which says it's expected to serve actually as the starting point for the MCU's next saga, introducing its cosmic storyline. So even in this report, it says that Black Panther 3 is going to be the starting point for the next saga. Now, a saga can include a lot of different storylines. We could have the cosmic side, those stories, the supernatural side, which we know we're going to get with Mephisto now in the MCU and the Midnight Sun's supposed to come, a grounded side, which is probably just going to focus on the X-Men. And then we have big events that will happen that will bring all of them together. Like we've heard Marvel's planning on an AXE event, Avengers, X-Men, Eternals, which would be a Judgment Day where the Celestials come and those teams fight each other at first, but then come together to essentially figure out how to defeat a Celestial. Sounds really cool. That's not expected to come till way later. So we have the cosmic side, supernatural side, the grounded side, X-Men, Midnight Suns, and then Nova, the Nova Force, and possibly Annihilus. And we'll get into that in just a bit. Now, the cosmic side being set up in Wakanda Forever makes a lot of sense because, again, if this is the first movie to come after Avengers Secret Wars, it has to actually carry a lot of the weight for the next saga and for the new MCU. And I've had this theory for a while that at the end of Avengers Secret Wars, there's going to be an Illuminati essentially formed. There's going to be a handful of characters who know that before Secret Wars, before Battleworld, a whole multiverse existed. And they actually remember the past. And those people are kind of going to be the new Illuminati, right? Or I should say, kind of the first one. We did get one in Multiverse of Madness, but they weren't our main Illuminati. So we'll get like a new Illuminati, and Black Panther and Shuri, I believe, are going to be two of these people. So this movie is actually going to have to take on the responsibility of kind of explaining what our new universe is and kind of how it operates, because some people aren't going to remember anything before that universe, right? Some of the X-Men, the Fantastic Four, a lot of people might not remember anything prior to Battleworld. Because again, like Kevin Feige and the RUSSO said, Secret Wars is a new beginning. So I think the new universe might be established as Battleworld is created. I think that's the new universe moving forward. We'll have to wait and see on that. But regardless, this is the first movie after they have to kind of establish what is going on with this new universe. So I think they do address that in this movie. But then they do have to set up the cosmic side if the aliens come. And that is a whole other gigantic task as well. But an alien army coming makes a lot of sense if you consider we've actually been hearing for, I would probably say, for at least 6 months, that the Nova series is in development. That has actually been confirmed for a while now. Brad Winderbaum, the head of Marvel Television, has confirmed that. But we've been hearing with that, the villain of that series was going to be Annihilus. And they might be doing an Annihilation Wave event. Well, a big alien army coming to attack Earth and Wakanda defending Earth, that seemingly lines up with the Annihilation Wave. Not lining up with what the story actually is, because that story is crazy cool with Nova and Star-Lord and a bunch of people. It's really awesome. It's more of a dark story, but you should definitely check it out. But if you're going to set up the cosmic side and you're going to start that story on Earth, this is a great way to do it. And if anybody has the army to actually go up against aliens and also the technology, it is definitely going to be Wakanda. And if T'Challa goes into the Savage Land and finds the anti-metal, they might actually be able to use that to defeat the aliens rather than mess with their own vibranium. So I think a lot of this makes sense. I think a lot of this lines up, and it could even start to introduce one of our next big bads, Annihilus, which would be crazy cool. Now, in this, they could actually do a post-credit scene teasing Nova. We've heard it's going to be a show, that they've already started to develop it. They could have changed their mind and possibly turned it into a movie, but I don't think that's going to be the case. I think we get a TV show. I think they could tease this though. Now we've heard they're going to make a TV show, but then they could possibly bring Nova into a new Guardians of the Galaxy team, which I think is going to be a part of the cosmic side of the MCU. I don't think it's going to be led by Star-Lord. I think it's probably going to be led by Nova. So we could have a really cool kind of fusion here. Nova with the Guardians of the Galaxy, which eventually could lead us to a giant big battle with a new big bad, Annihilus. Annihilus is one of the, I would say, greatest Marvel villains to come from the comics. One of the biggest events ever for sure, the Annihilation Wave, the Annihilation event. And I think that Black Panther introducing the start of this would be really cool, to where you could have a post-credit scene actually teasing Annihilus, because I think that's one of the biggest complaints that people had with the new saga that we went into with the multiverse saga. There wasn't a lot of teasing for what was to come in the post-credit scenes or even in some of the films, right? Not too much connectivity there. And I think Marvel probably heard that and they're going to try to fix it. So teasing the next big bad of just one side of the MCU would be really cool, because when we get to the X-Men, they're obviously going to have Mr. Sinister, Apocalypse, like they're going to have their own villains. And then the Midnight Suns are going to have Mephisto and other cool villains as well, hopefully Dracula. So there are lots of different, I should say, big bads coming into the MCU. And that just shows us that the next saga really is going to be incredibly different than anything we've gotten so far, because there are going to be so many teams. But Black Panther 3 is going to have a pretty big responsibility setting up the future for the MCU overall. And it sounds like they're really going to take a dive at setting up the cosmic side here. So I'm really excited for Black Panther 3 now. I am really curious who the new Black Panther will be, how he gets introduced, and how exactly the new universe will work after Avengers Secret Wars. But again, that's going to be on the shoulders of Black Panther 3. So it's going to be really important. Go ahead and let me know what you think about all of this in the comments down below. Please don't forget to like this video and subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the latest MCU news. You can also find us on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and Snapchat. And as always, thank you all so much for watching. Woof woof.